for attending today. And we're really excited to always continue to bring you the latest and greatest with Dynamic Farm. And with that, I'll let Xavier take it away.
Cool. Thanks, Megan. Again, my name is Javier, and I'm Javier the fourth. My dad is Javier the third, and he is the one who created Dynamic Farm. Today, I'm sure some of you guys have seen the platform before, but what I'm going to really focus on today is how you guys can use the tool to generate listings inside of your guys' farms. So I'm going to log in here, and Dynamic Farm was built as a farm management tool, meaning I want to keep your guys' farms up to date over time so that if 123 Main Street changes ownership or something along those lines, I update that inside of your farm and then I send you an email notification that says, hey, 123 Main Street has changed ownership. And just as a heads up, I did just mute everybody. I heard some background noise. So if you guys have a question at any time, feel free to use the chat box or feel free to unmute yourself and ask that question. So everything we're going to talk about today is based off of having a farm area. What I actually want to do is get into the nitty gritty, and then we'll walk through how you guys can get your farm. So I'm going to click on this Hillsboro farm. And inside of your guys' farming areas, what I do is I break it up based off of demographic. So the typical way that you guys receive a farm is in a CSV or an Excel file. You probably ask for some sort of filters. Inside of Dynamic Farm, I want you guys to have the whole farm because I filter everything after. Now, most of these are free, as well as managing your farm and all that kind of stuff is free for you guys to have as well. And there's only a few things that you guys have to pay for. If I don't mention that it's free, or if I don't mention anything about it, that means it's free. I will mention everything that's paid. So when you click inside of the farm, I break it up into all of these demographics. Now, the most popular demographic that we have and the one that people see the most success with inside of our system is going to be the focus farm. So if I were to come over here and click on focus farm, it is going to show me the people who are likely to move or likely to sell inside of that farm. Now, this is an algorithm that our company has been running for 18 years, and we have a 70% success rate, meaning that 70% of these people will list or sell their home in that 1 to 2 year span that we had predicted. So this is one farm. I'll go into another farm. I'll show you guys another one that was a really small farm. Let's say I go into this 3,000 record farm and click on the focus farm, although I don't really recommend a farm that's 3,000 records large. But now you guys can see I have 325 records inside of here that are likely to sell, likely to move. So this is the demographic that you guys want to be marketing to most frequently inside of your farm. Some marketing messages that I like, or I have a buyer type marketing, low inventory type marketing, equity marketing is going to work out really, really well. We have phone numbers and emails if you guys want to call. Up here in the top right hand corner is a share function where we have all of these different marketing options for you. So you can do a mail file export. You can download the complete CSV file. You could download the Corefax CSV. And if any of you guys are not familiar with Corefax, it's basically automated postcards. It's a really, really good service. If you guys are using a dialer, then you would download the Vulcan 7 dialer CSV file, or if it doesn't work for your dialer, download the bonus export. You can download the Facebook audience as well. And this is one of those things that I think is going to be really, really valuable for you guys in 2021 is doing some form of targeted marketing on social media. And you can do that with our Facebook audience. And I do have a training video on that I'll show you where it's at towards the end. You download addresses and notes, current resident. I have top producer, KW Command, Compass Realty, LionDesk as CRM exports that you guys can use. If your CRM is different than those ones, I would try those ones out, see if it works for your CRM. If not, then just reach out to your title rep and we can fix that for you. A general marketing export, you can email it, send a customer service. You can print labels if you guys are doing some direct mail form of marketing. You can print reports, and then you can mail merge letters. And so all of these are free except for the merge letters. Then there's match email addresses, create farm, and comps report, which those are more advanced features. Outside of the comps, it's going to build comps for the cities or the zip codes that farm is in. But the mail merge letters is $12 a year, and it's only for this demographic. And inside of the mail merge letters, I have 70 sample letters that you guys can send out to your farm. So there is the I have a buyer letter inside of here, which is a marketing message that I mentioned earlier. There's a couple low inventory letters inside of here, some equity letters, and we also have what's a home's worth codes inside of here as well, if you guys wanted to do some what's a home's worth code type marketing inside of your farm. So when you guys are in your farm, whether you want to do direct mail marketing, you want to do phone calls, you want to do some form of social media marketing, I have you covered on all bases. The biggest thing I can say with the focus farm is to be consistent with your marketing. Too many times I see people, pick a farm or a farm area, they do some marketing for a few months and then they move on over to the next farm. You really have to be consistent and market over time with these areas if you want to see listings from these people inside of your farm. But the focus farm is the number one demographic that you guys should be marketing to get listings inside of your farm. The other demographic I want you guys to check out are going to be your long-term homeowners. Now, your long-term homeowners is anybody who's owned a home for 13 years or more inside of your farm. So here, you'd probably want to do some more so like downsizing type marketing, lower taxes. One thing that I always look for is I look for stories, because that's in here somewhere inside of the data set. So properties that have 2 stories, for an older demographic, it's right here. For an older demographic, maybe they want a 1-story house. They're not walking up and down the stairs the entire time. You also have a term filter right here where you can filter by empty nesters, which is anybody who's owned a home for 25 years or more, which is a really, really good demographic to go after inside of your guys' farms. But I pulled up the long-term homeowners because this is the second demographic that you should be going after to get listings inside of your farm. There's also some other hidden demographics inside of here as well, like dynamic duo, which I'll explain a little bit later. And then there's anniversary, which is anybody who's having a homeownership anniversary inside of your farm. I love the anniversary demographic. I think that's one of the best ways that you guys can build relationships inside of your farm. Maybe send like a little trinket or something along those lines. Buy and hold is going to be kind of like our investor list. It's anybody who owns multiple properties inside of the farm. Then I have fix and flip, which is anybody who has sold multiple properties inside of the farm, and then renovate, which are people who are doing massive renovations to properties. But the focus farm and the long-term homeowners, regardless of all of these filters, maybe you want to do something with just the empty nesters there, which takes about 700 records off of this list, are really the 2 demographics that you guys should be focusing on inside of our system to get listings. Now, there are a lot of other demographics inside of your farm that you guys can really, really use to grow your attraction inside of an area and to get long-term business out of that area as well. And the long-term business is going to come with those recent buyers and the new homeowners. Recent buyers is anybody who's bought a property inside of the farm within the last 90 days. New homeowners is within the last 2 years. And these are probably the 2 demographics that are missed the most inside of our system. And what I mean by that is a lot of people tend to just run to the focus farm and the long-term homeowners and call it a day. And that's the only demographic that they market to. And that's fine. But what we want is we want to generate long-term business out of this farm, right? So I want to be marketing to those new homeowners. Part of the reason is because 80% of people said that they would recommend the last agent that they used, but only 20% of those people actually ended up using that previous agent. So those new homeowners are a really good demographic for you guys to be going after for that long-term prospecting. With a recent buyer inside of the neighborhood, I like to, give a hello, an introduction. One thing that I would be doing with those recent buyers is if you know that neighborhood really, really well, maybe send them a list of the top 5 or 10 places to support locally during the pandemic. You guys are in California. I'm in Arizona. We're basically open. California is kind of the exact opposite. So, finding those local businesses to support and giving out that kind of content is a really, really good way to do that. Some people that I know, they'll do like a Cold Stone gift card for like a couple bucks with a welcome to the neighborhood. When COVID first hit, I know some people who did some toilet paper type stuff. I thought that was kind of funny. But you really, really want to introduce yourself to those recent buyers. And then the new homeowners, it's almost like your second touch. Hopefully not, but if it is, it's not necessarily a bad thing. But what I want to do with those new homeowners is I want to put them on some form of long-term drip. So that could be via email, could be via mail. You have a bunch of different options there on how you want to drip on those new homeowners over time. I'd also look at building like a Facebook group and putting those people inside of there as well. A lot of cool things that you can do with those new homeowners, and it definitely is a demographic that I recommend for long-term business inside of your farm. So that that recent buyers and those new homeowners are two demographics that I would look at. But some other ones that I have are out of state owners. Now, out of state owners are really popular right now. Not a lot of traveling that is going on. So if it's like a vacation home or something like that, definitely something to look at there. Absentee owners is anybody where the site address is different from the mailing address. So you can almost deduce that this is most likely a rental property. So if I'm marketing to my site address here, what I want to do is I want to try and get buyers. So a what's a home's worth code would not be valuable sending it to my absentee owners to the site address. What I would rather send is like a cost to rent versus a cost to buy analysis or something like that. Maybe a marketing piece based off of interest rates and how low they are, or um, maybe using both of those marketing pieces are part of the Lawyers Agent One app, so you guys could use that app to kind of generate that form of marketing. Or we have some pieces in there with the mail merges as well. Now, if I'm marketing to my mailing address here, very different form of marketing, right? I'm marketing to the owners of those rental properties. So a what's a home's worth code is very valuable here. Low inventory is really valuable here. You can also build filters based off of how long they've owned the home. So if they've owned the home for 10, 13 years, maybe they're tired of managing that rental. Right now would be the time to cash in. I have your owner occupied homes. Focus Spotlight is kind of our new and improved likely mover routine. I don't have like 18 years of testing. I have like 2, so I don't have necessarily like a confidence score or a success rate, but it is trending to do better than the Focus Farm. I prefer the Focus Farm because it's tried and true over time. Stay years. So if I come over here to my stats page and you did see me skip over potential flippers, and that's because that feature is paid, I'm going to cover the free stuff first. So on the stats page, you have the turnover rate, which is based off of the last 12 months. I have my average stay year, or how long on average someone stays inside of their home, inside of that farm. Right here is the average sales price of the entire neighborhood. That includes someone who purchased, 10, 15 years ago. And then over here on the right-hand side, I have the average sales price of the last 12 months. As I scroll down, I have things like dollar volume and units sold, units purchased by investor, average sales price. And then I really get into the demographic breakdowns. So this is where I like to spend a lot of my time analyzing my farm, figuring out who my target demographic is going to be inside of my farm. Now, I always want to market to that focus farm, but every farm is different. In this in particular case, owner occupieds are turning over at 4%, absentees are turning over at 1%. Sometimes that's flip flop, sometimes they're both really high, sometimes they're both really low. Long-term homeowners, 33% of my farm, sometimes that's 50, sometimes that's 60. So it's really, really important to look at that with the long-term homeowners. And then there's dynamic duo, which I did mention I was going to explain later. And so I'm going to do that while I have the stats up. So dynamic duo is anybody who has been inside of their home 2 to 8 years plus 20 plus years divided by the total number of people inside of that area. The reason that's valuable is because over the last 30 years in the United States, the most common timeframes that people have moved is when they've been in their home either 2 to 8 years or 20 plus. And that's kind of how you get that national average of 10. 2 to 8, you can kind of categorize as your move up demographic. 20 plus, you can kind of categorize as that move down. And then there are different ways to filter by that, but it is a really kind of good barometer of the health of that farm. Then I have the turnover rate over 10 years, which is my personal favorite graph. The sales price trend, unit sales, appreciation, average slot size, average square foot, average bed, average bath. All of these can be downloaded, exported, saved, printed, annotated. You can also look at these over a 1 year, a 5 year, and a 10-year span. But that average stay year demographic that I kind of got away from is always based off of this number here on the stats page. And every farm is going to be different. So a new build community, you're going to see have a way lower average stay year than a community that's been there for 10, 15 years. So this average stay year is right next to the national average at about 10. I like farms. I don't really care really about the average day year. I do get that question a lot, but I do care about the turnover rate. It is not my favorite stat, but ideally you want something in like the 6 to 8% range, so at least you know it has some traction. But the turnover rate does fluctuate over time. If I come down to this graph down here at the bottom, this is a very, very important thing to take a look at. In 2018, it was 11%, and it kind of hovered over that 4 to 6% range, 4 to 5% range, a little bit close to six there. So over time, this farm continuously turns over. And that's a really, really good thing to look at, because a lot of times what you see are it'll be down for 10 years and then it'll spike up and then it'll go right back down. And that's something that you always like to look at, so you can see the long-term health of that farm, so you can really decide, hey, is this a farm I really want to be farming for, 10, 15 years, however long that may be for you. I also have recently updated properties inside of the farm within the last 15 days, properties you've taken notes on, and properties that you flag. And so those are all of the demographics that you guys get for free inside of our geographical farming system. Your focus should always be on that focus farm. And so, this is a lot of information that we're going through. I do recommend that you set up a one-on-one with your title rep so that you can get your farms inside of your account. You can take a look at some of the different data that's available, especially that focus farm, and kind of create a marketing plan from there. After that, I want you guys to take a look at the long-term homeowners and start marketing to that demographic frequently and consistently. And the key here with the focus farm or the long-term homeowners is just consistency. When you're looking at your marketing methods over here in the share function, I get a lot of questions on that. Hey, Javier, how should I be marketing to these demographics? And the truth is, you got to find whichever one you're going to be consistent with. Because honestly, I have realtors who are successful in every marketing medium: social media, direct mail, postcards, door knocking, phone calls, emails. But it's really the people who are the most consistent with doing that over time who are going to be the most successful. And again, guys, remember, if you guys have any questions at any time, feel free to ask those. I'm more than happy to answer any questions that you guys have. And that's what you guys get on the free side, but we also have a bunch of premium data as well available inside of the system. And if I click Premium Farm over here, I'm going to be looking at notice of defaults, notice of trustee sales, phones, emails, marriages, births, deaths, and divorces. Now, again, I also have, I also have probates, but probate's not inside of your farm. Probate's wherever you want. So this is all data I'm finding inside of your farm. Every 2 weeks, I'm going to send you guys emails saying, hey, there's one new marriage, there's one new birth, whatever it may be inside of your farm. Notice the defaults, notice the trustee sales. We're really going to find out what's going to happen with those here in the next month or so. Forbearance is about to end. If it gets extended, great. We're not going to see a massive increase in those as of right now. If it doesn't, then we're probably going to see a pretty big increase there with those NODs, those NTSs. The marriages, births, deaths, and divorces. Now, that's some of my favorite data that we have inside of the system. And all of this data is a la carte. The emails are available in a monthly plan, which I'll go over here in a little bit. But I really love our life event data. Now, with our life event data, our company new homepage collects it in a variety of different ways. Most data providers just look at the county recorder, meaning marriage certificates, birth certificates, all of that kind of stuff as well. So on top of that, we also own a printing company. We own over 100, or we host over 180,000 websites. Some of those are marriage websites, and I can scrub social media. Hashtag just got engaged, gender reveals, RIP to my grandfather, all that kind of stuff. And the reason I mention that is because for the marriages, births, and divorces, sometimes those can be pre-events. So please do not call anybody and say, hey, I heard you got a divorce or anything like that. Now, when you click on each life event, it's going to let you know how many are available at the top. So if there are no new records, that means there are no new records. If there are, it's going to look like this for here at the phones, where it tells you how many are available at the top. With the phone numbers and emails, to the left of the data set, there are going to be check marks, or rather red or green. Red means that data is available and you guys have not collected it yet. Green means you've already collected that data. And we do make you collect all of it because it's a la carte. So if I send you an email saying, hey, this data is available, I would go in there and I would collect that data. Notice a default, notice a trustee sale. Those are going to be 8 cents. Phones are going to be 25 cents. Emails are 4 cents a month and they are licensed, not sold. Although I do have another option for you for phones and emails. Marriages, births, deaths, divorces are all going to be $5 each. If I come back here inside of my farm, I also have some demographics that you guys can get on our monthly plan. So our monthly plan is $19.99 a month. If I come down here to the support section, I can get a nice little breakdown of everything, including the a la carte data, our mail mergeability, and then this is called our LE version, kind of stands for listed in equity. But just wanted you guys to know that is there inside of the help section or the support section where you guys can get all the pricing. But if I come back into my farm, the stuff that's available with that LE version, it stands for listed in equity, but you also get potential flippers, potential investments, and previously listed. Potential flippers is anybody who has bought a property inside of the farm within the last 90 days and has already put it back on the market. These are people I'm going to want to build relationships with, maybe offer them a good contractor or something along those lines so that when they'll do those flips down the road, I'm the person that they think of. Listed is going to be all the properties that are listed inside of that farm. When a property is listed inside of the farm, you guys get an email notification when that property is listed, pending, and sold. And when it's listed and sold, you also get the realtor and the broker's information who is working on that property. Then you get the equity information. Now, this is some of my favorite data inside of the entire system because what we provide here for you guys is the AVM, the loan amount due, the LTV, the interest rates, and the approximate equity that someone has inside of their home. This data is updated every single week. So a really, really good way and unique way to use this data is with Circle Prospecting. You guys can get a listing, draw a farm around it, and then you could get the updated equity information for that farm and start doing some marketing. And instead of doing a what's a home's worth code, you could really let people know exactly how much equity they have inside of their home. Or as you can see in this farm, I even have a couple really high interest rates here. That's not a call to say, hey, let's sell your home. That's a call to say, hey, we should probably try and refinance that loan. So a lot of good value adds there with the equity information. Now, if you do the upgrade, you also get the ability to use this equity filter here, where you can filter by 60%, 40%, 20% plus, positive and negative. The rest of these filters are free for you guys to use. So that's occupancy, use code, status, and surname. And surname is one of my favorites where you guys can always cross filter this list down to get the exact demographic that you guys are looking for. Then there's potential investments. So these are properties with below 80% improvement that have good equity inside of the home, basically meaning these are good properties for flippers, people looking for fixer-uppers. That is a demographic that these properties kind of match. And then there's previously listed. So these are all previously listed properties inside of the farm within the last year that have either canceled or expired. So it's going to be different depending on the farm, but you can kind of deduce that probably some of these properties are, canceled or expired kind of due to COVID. It's a really, really good demographic to check out if you are interested inside or if you are interested in that LE version. But even if you do the upgrade or if you don't, the focus farm is still going to be the bare bones basics of what you guys need to be doing inside of our system. So with that being said, now I kind of need to walk you through how you get that focus farm and how you get all of this data. So there are three primary ways of creating farms inside of Dynamic Farm. The easiest way for you guys is going to be to reach out to your title rep and say, hey, I want XYZ farm, and they can get that loaded inside of your account. You also have the option of doing it yourself. So inside of the system in the top left-hand corner, there's a create a farm function, where from here, it's going to bring up a polygon of LA. And let's say I were to type in Hillsboro. I click find address. It's just going to load the middle of Hillsboro for me. I can zoom in or zoom out over here on the right-hand side. I would click and hold to move my map around, and I would just single left-hand click in order to draw my farm. So let's say I go Burlingame Hills, trace my farm, connect my dots. Then it's going to be calculating the total number of properties inside of that area, giving me SFR, condo, and townhouses with the turnover rates for each, which I really like. A lot of people like to identify that farm based off of the turnover rate. So it really does give you a nice overview of what's going on inside of that area. And I can reset my polygon down here at the bottom. And let's say I want to draw a new farm over here, and I can totally do that. One of the upgrades that's coming here within the next month is going to give you the ability to draw multiple polygons on the screen, which will be pretty cool. So I just got a question in the chat. Do we offer Facebook advertising? Yes, we do. We have a couple of options. If you want to shoot me an email, I'll put my email down here in the chat so that you can see that. And just so you guys know, kind of, I don't know, you guys are getting kind of a preview of a new feature that's coming here. We are going to be offering Facebook advertising inside of the platform. So there's going to be a couple of templates that you guys can choose from, and you can choose a demographic, you can choose a zip code, whatever you want. You can even choose one of the audiences we have inside of your farm, so focus farm, whatever that may be, and you can do an ad with one of those templates. But shoot me an email if you want me to do some Facebook advertising for you. I can send you some pricing on what that looks like. So the creative farm and getting it from Lawyers Customer Service are the two ways that we've covered so far. And then over here on the left-hand side underneath Mike's picture, this is going to be your title reps picture. This is going to be your information, view farms, and then we have subdivisions. So subdivisions is one of my favorite ways of getting a farm, and it works by typing in a city. Click on it. I click continue. And then it's going to populate the subdivisions that I have inside of that city. So I can click on each one. I can see the different turnover rates, the different amount of records that are inside of here. The colors do not mean anything. They're just there to kind of separate the farms. And a new feature that's also going to be coming is you're going to be able to filter by the turnover rate there. So you can filter by a turnover rate range if you only want to see specific, properties that fit that turnover rate, which will be really nice because I know a lot of people really like that. That's Hillsborough. Yeah, that's normally the city that I do up there. I can do San Mateo for you guys as well. Click continue, and it's going to populate the ones that we have inside of San Mateo, and you guys can see all of that different information there as well. What you can also do is you can import that sphere of influence or past clients inside of the system as well. Now, all I need are your first owner's full name and the complete site address, and I can find the property information, the sale date, the sale price, the APN number. I can tell you if they're likely to sell, if they're having a life event, the whole 9 yards. There is a small charge for that. It's $5 up front and then a penny per record, but that would give you the ability to have all of this same information on your sphere of influence and past clients as well. Some other features that we have inside of the product, we have a full-on marketing section with a full-on email marketing system. We have a sales heat map. You guys can pull comps from inside of the system as well. Now with the comps, you can do the last 3 months or the last 6 months. And then I have December here pulled up and I can choose my city there. Counties are over here on the left-hand side that I can pull those comps for. There's also a subject line grader inside of here. And this is a really cool feature that kind of just launched. But basically what I can do with email marketing, your emails are graded on a scale of 1 to 10. And a lot of times it comes down to the subject line or the content that's inside of the email that is the reason as to why it goes to spam. So I can type in a header here. I put in free, it automatically gave me a C. So you want to stay away from words like free, 4-letter words. You don't want to use a lot of punctuation. That tends to rate your email higher, different stuff like that. So let's say I don't want to put free there. Right, I spelled evaluation wrong. I put in an exclamation point and put it down to C. If I were to delete that exclamation point, it puts me back to a B. So you guys can really see how that information affects what is going on with your subject line. Inside of marketing, I have a sales heat map. So this sales heat map shows you the sales history of a city over time. You can look at 30 days, 60 days, or 12 months worth of data with that sales heat map. Inside of marketing, I'm just waiting for my map to load. Oh, I'll just go over the map while it's loading. So the different pins represent different properties that have sold inside of that area. The different colors represent different dollar volumes. So if I were to type in San Mateo here, it's going to pull up San Mateo. I really look for trends with the sales heat map. I'm looking for, hey, when I'm looking at that sales heat map, it's just taking a second for my pins to load. Where are properties selling? Where is it leading to? Looking at my dollar volume, you guys have something that's very different than I do out here in Arizona. But those are just things that I look for. You can also edit your print letters from here as well, and you can create your own print letters from inside of the system. We also have property profiles that you guys can pull. You guys can pull property profiles from the Walking Farm app. You guys can also pull property profiles from the desktop as well. All you have to do is type in that address. Oops. Allow. My computer is just blocking my location, so 1 second. When you type in that address, you guys are going to have a few options. You can do radius farm. So this would be really, really good if you guys wanted to do some form of circle prospecting. You can open that property profile. You can even email that property profile as well. Under here are credits. This is where you guys would upload those credits so that you can purchase that a la carte premium data. And then down here is going to be custom data. And this is if you guys wanted to purchase probate cases or if you wanted to do an a la carte search for phone numbers and emails. So the phone numbers and emails, you either have the ability to purchase it inside of the farm or you can upload a CSV file and you can purchase that data as well. The difference is with the a la carte data, I actually give you the email address. So it's 8 cents for the email, 8 cents for the phone. You can export those emails, those phone numbers, and do whatever you want with it. Put them into HomeBot, put them into a drip system, your CRM, use it in Facebook ads. You can do all that kind of stuff. I am going to make it so that it's a little bit easier here in the next month or so with one of our new updates. But right now it's an import and an export. It is some of the best data that we have in the industry. Or anybody has in the industry. It is some of my favorite data we have inside of the product, and that is also there for you guys. You can also purchase probate inside of here. So probate is not inside of your farm. Probate is wherever you want. You search by city, you search by zip code, date range, and you can purchase those probate cases. Now, underneath support is where you guys are going to find all of our training content. So we have our FAQ with our most popular questions. There's also a user manual inside of here as well that I very much so recommend downloading. Goes through how much everything costs inside of the system. Then there's video training. I recommend everybody watch this getting started video. It is about 15 minutes long, but it really does cover the basics of what you guys need to do to get up and running with our platform. It covers the email notifications. It covers importing a farm. It covers getting a farm, downloading CSV files. It's really, really informative on just what you need to do to get going. We have a webinar series. So webinar series are about 45 minutes to an hour long, very, very similar to what we did today, but it's more of this is this, that is that. It goes through every single feature inside of the system. Today, I'm just giving you guys the stuff that I think are going to generate listings for you today. Then there's past webinars, and this is something that we do every single week. It's a weekly webinar on a feature inside of the platform. So it's a deep dive into one individual feature. I show you how to do the Facebook audience files. As someone who looks at a lot of data analytics, how to read the data analytics inside of your farm so that you guys can figure out, hey, this is who I should be marketing to. But a lot of videos, and we are bringing these back here within the next, week or so and diving back inside of the system. And then you guys can contact us at any time. So we have 3 options. We have a phone number, we have a live chat, and we have a help desk ticketing system that you guys can use. So when you guys are looking at this, whether it's the ticketing system or the live chat, we respond fairly quickly with the phone number. I personally prefer the live chat. It's easiest for us, easiest for you guys to kind of get those support stuff in there. And of course, you guys can always reach out to your title rep, and if they don't know the answer, then I would. But in terms of generating listings with LT Dynamic Farm, what you guys want to do is you want to load your farms inside of your account, and you want to start generating a marketing plan to that focus farm. It's going to be the biggest recommendation that I can make to you guys. So definitely sit down with your title rep, Getting a farm and getting that focus farm is free for you guys to have. So it's definitely the number one thing that I would be doing inside of our system to generate listings. But with that being said, that is everything that I have prepared for you guys today. So if you guys have any questions right now would definitely be the time to ask those on the farm or on the program. So does anybody have any questions? I heard someone unmute them. I think, oh, Jennifer unmuted themselves. Oh, Jennifer, is there anything you'd like to add or anything else you'd like me to cover?
Well, thank you so much. I guess where I was wanting to find out and I know you covered long-term owners, due to Prop 19, I believe a lot of people are looking for the opportunities to find people that would fall, looking for senior citizens or that would fall under the 55 and older. So I just wanted your quick recommendation on what farm would you run looking for some, for potential sellers?
You mean like area?
Yeah, well, just picking out obviously a farm, whether it be, 1,000 people, a neighborhood. And what would be your recommendation on how you would, then filter it from there to make sure, to do our best to estimate they're 55 or older. So obviously, what's the average? I'm not even sure what the average homeowner is, but would you just use the 25 plus year ownership and just say here, this would be the best route to go using Dynamic Farm?
If you're trying to estimate, I mean, it's impossible to estimate age because, I mean, if you look at me, if I were to own this home for 20 years, I still wouldn't be 50.
No, I understand that. I'm just asking what your recommendation would be on a guesstimate.
Well, the long-term homeowners would be the best bet there. You could even go to 20 plus or 25 plus, but if it were me, I would just market to all of the long-term homeowners. And that's, if someone's looking to market to 55 plus, they still need to be marketing to that focus farm. So if they're looking to just do 55 plus and they're just kind of excluding the focus farm, they're doing themselves a disservice. But I would go 25 plus or 20 plus with the long-term homeowners and then marketing to my focus farm. That's what I would do in that scenario.
Okay. Yeah. like I said, I know that I've been, been in this business for a long time. And I always know that there's, people are trying to find that magic, criteria, but I know it's really hard to get to guess. So, okay. Thank you. That's all I wanted, your recommendation.
Yeah.
I have a
absolutely.
question.
Okay.
Hi. I have two. One is you actually give these seminars throughout California. Are you seeing, without sharing somebody's great idea, some other agent's great idea, are you seeing any farms that people are concentrating on?
By farms, do you mean like areas? Like, what do you mean?
Well, we can't really go into geographics to make sense out of somebody else's geographical farm, but any demographic farms that are seeing success, because you do these tutorials throughout. So are you seeing any agents hitting it out of the ballpark, doing anything specific demographically?
The agents that are hitting it out of the ballpark are the ones that are marketing to the focus farm. The ones that are not are trying to look for a magic bullet inside of the system and trying to filter the list and be creative. Those are the ones who are not hitting it out of the park.
I love it. I love the focus farm. That's my favorite. And the other one is in the long-term homeowners, there's two tags. One is renovate and the other is fix and flip. What are the filters for that?
Fix and flip would be potential investments, or underneath long-term homeowners would be a term filter and renovate.
Yeah, but what's the filters that you use to pull those farms? Like, what's the criteria? Like a fix and flip? Is it?
So fix and flip are people who are flipping properties. It's not a fix and flip type property. It's people who are actually flipping properties. If you're looking for properties to flip, then you would look at renovate. Now, renovate's going off of the percent improvement that someone has done to the home.
Percent improvement. Okay.
And then the same thing with potential investment properties.
Okay,
and I-
it looks like you got some chats going on, so I'll just, thank you so much.
Absolutely. So Rob, to answer your question, first things first, you'd want to sit down with your title rep. Second, I would come into the support section and watch the getting started video. That is your 1 through 10 list of getting started. That's going to take you through everything that you need as a rookie, and onboarding from the registration process to getting a farm, the whole 9 yards. So that is your onboarding step-by-step rookie process. And you can create your account for Dynamic Farm and get that set up, or you can have your title rep send you this video as well. So let me know if that answered your question, Rob. Raul, your focus farm are going to be the likely sellers inside of your farm. So inside of any farm you're going to create, I'm going to have that focus farm, which are the people who are likely to sell inside of that farm within the next 1 to 2 years. So let me know if that answered your question, Raul. Rob, how would you know if someone is fixing or renovating? I would primarily know that via permits or if they get their house appraised. If not, and you're on the premium version, I can actually look at like purchase history and different stuff like that. But that is how I would know if someone is fixing or renovating a property. How I know it if someone is doing it consistently is if they keep buying properties and putting it back on the market, and that's where you would find them underneath that potential flipper demographic. So Rob, you had 2 questions there, so let me know if those answered both of your questions.
Javier, you can also put in if they refi, because I mean, I'm doing that myself. If people look up my property, they know refi, so maybe I might want to refi, remodel, and sell my house.
Correct. That is also another good indicator. We also do look at that. I just forgot to mention that, but that is another indicator that we look at as well. If someone does a cash out refi, then maybe they're doing some work to their house. That was a really, really good point there. Thank you for bringing that up. Does anybody have any other questions for me? Awesome. Well, thank you for everybody's time today. I really, really appreciate it. I do understand that this was a lot of information, so please set up a one-on-one with your title reps that you guys can get set up for LT Dynamic Farm. The recording will take 5 to 10 minutes to process, and then I'll send that on over to the lawyers team. So if you guys want that recording, please reach out to your lawyer's title sales executive. But with that being said, again, thank you everybody for your time today. I hope I was able to teach you something with Dynamic Farm and how to get listings inside of your business. Before we log off, does anybody from the lawyers team want to mention anything? Thanks, Raul.
This is Megan again. Again, just thank you to everybody. We'll get that recording out as soon as we can to everyone. And once again, thank you for attending.
All right, cool, everybody. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.